It was such a broad spectrum of ages, from little kids to 12 or 13-year-olds. And then just asking them to do things that interested them. A letter or plant life or a little scribble, this beautiful little scribble in an apple or an eel. Some of them were actually borrowed from characters I understood later from television, which was fine. I just thought it was great that they wanted to contribute something to this idea. People to come by with their little children and pick out parts that they really loved and to engage with those parts, and that's really how it ended up being experienced. It ended up fading a lot. Some of the water was leaking into the edges where the pieces of MDO abut one another, but primarily the children's images were really fading a lot, and so it needed to be addressed.
Flashing back on and everything.
Yeah.
This is Dirk. This is Mila.
Hi.
Hi.
Nice to meet you, Mela. Just saying, I'm going to be sorry that this won't be up anymore. We've really enjoyed having it. And in fact, the one, see that one, that apple that's very abstract?
That's Noah's.
That's Noah's.
Her son's.
I love the elephant. My favorite part's the dragon. The little tigers over there.
The Cambridge Arts Council has a gallery at 344 Broadway in the City Hall Annex building. Once we made that decision that she was going to repaint the whole mural, I thought it would be nice to have her paint it in the gallery. We wanted it, in addition, to be a place where people would feel comfortable coming in. Ms. Mela had this idea of these large 4x8 carpeted platforms, 8 inches high, that were on wheels that we can move around and we can put them two together. And so it became this wonderful kind of seating platform. The kids could roll around on it. We could spread books on it. The people who walk into the building and happen to come into the gallery can have the experience of an artist studio in real time. You know, they see resources out on the platforms. They see your books on Bosch and Tiepolo, and they see them coming up onto the canvas. So they see these figures, the layer through time in terms of history, your contemporary life, and then they also see the painting, the painting layers and how you put all those things together.
I was thinking about how to treat this whole mural. Basically, I still would like to use a lot of art historical references in the making of the new piece, but using my own ideas, of course. But I don't think there is making art without referencing history. And in this case, I won't have the kids work directly on it, but I'll have their ideas because they'll be coming in and responding to it, which will be cool. This image that I use, and that sort of speaks to my past. My mother was a fashion model, so I think of that as the walk down the walk that they used all the time to model clothing in those days. So I had a friend, an artist, as a matter of fact, that I was in a show with named Stephanie Chubbuck, who modeled for me walking in the water. And then I worked from those. So I'm not sure how these will be used. I'm not sure if I will incorporate a woman walking in the water in heels in my new piece. I could. Looking at Tiepolo helps me think about how to create that sort of floatiness that the ocean and an ocean scene inspires. And to me, that's where I want to be taken to if I'm stuck in the middle of the city. I want to be able to go to a park and be in a fantasy, as children are, regardless of whether they're paintings on the wall. They just want to be there and fly through the air. I was thinking about how to treat this whole mural and whether it would be a mass of people kind of walking in different versions of costume through the water. And I was thinking about walking down a beach or walking through a swimming pool or having a party and moving through the... It's almost Peter Sellers then, isn't it, in those hilarious pool movies. And then when I think about these images of this woman here over and over again walking down these stairs into the pool, going into this unconscious state, all the metaphors for water, all the kind of scary metaphors where everything gets broken up, all the environmental metaphors, rejuvenating metaphors, cleansing metaphor. So I guess maybe in some ways I see it as a mass of people going along a beach or going into this pool. It hasn't really gelled, but I want it to be, even though it's quite horizontal, to have a verticality to it. And I'd like the people to be larger than life, so they stand out from far away. I don't know where to go from here, what to think. I think there's going to be a lot more interesting as it goes along. I mean, a lot more ideas will beget other ideas, like a puzzle, where the pieces never quite fit. They keep moving and changing. I tend to like to go directly in with color rather than making some drawing with pencil. It just never seemed to work for me. I guess it's because I'm a drawer and I think of drawing with painting materials. Nice color. Why this color, you ask? It's a great color, isn't it? Cobalt green.
Yeah, why this color?
Because it's going to have a lot of water in it. My little sketchbook. I have a horse on one. My little girl. I kind of like that one too. I have to say, I'm really nervous about starting this. It's such a big, blank thing, you know? Woo.
The gallery is situated on the second floor at the top of a central staircase that leads you right up from the front entrance. So it's a really wonderful prime location that draws people. People felt comfortable coming in physically, walking in, and then also I've noticed people will make comments. They'll leave notes for you and give them their feedback and their opinions about what you're doing and suggestions about what you should do.
Oh, I had ongoing comments from people who worked in the building. I think the central figure should move slightly to the left.
Is that the people who work in this building, they knew that they could come back and see if you got their note and see if you were going to do anything about it.
I almost left them notes saying, I don't think so, Roger. Hi, I'm Mayla.
Hi, I'm Andrea. So do you guys remember some of the questions that you wanted to ask Mayla?
I'm going to paint.
Why am I an artist?
Yeah, why?
Because I really love to paint and I love to draw.
She looks like the lady with her heels. Right there, no, right here, with her heels. Because that can be the other end of her body, because it looks so alike.
You're right. I did borrow her for my own pictures.
But I love the floating, this image of floating and high heels, and yeah, that's great.
In fact, I allude to those kind of movies from the 60s.
You should have put this in the museum, in one of the museums, like an art museum.
Creatures, part panda bear, part something else, and then they'll.
It ties in with the whole watery thing, you sort of dream like state. And I can associate it, and I'm not grounded by this landscape, which, if that's what you want though, then that's what you want.
But I'm not sure about it at all. It's just there to think about deep space. I think it partly is there to think about how do I graduate people going backwards, pulling in different directions.
Yeah.
Generally, I want to create a tension between the sky and the water, a division
When I
between
stand
the
back
two.
here and look at that one on the left, it just looks like landscape. I've got this water, this big wide river, something's going way back. And I'm seeing the horizon 80 miles away.
Right, it kind of pulls you back there rather than having you deal with the foreground.
Yeah. I'm looking out, here's New Hampshire or something, and
That's right. It's Umbria. Maybe. I think I will be helped if I really go in with a value I like and get rid of this gray primer look. I think just even a color will help me.
Yeah.
Delicious. This reminds me of my daughter, who has a little kitchen in the house, and she's always making things out of flour and talcum powder and bits of lilac bushes. Now all of that to get the slightest bit of color. Just so we're tie-dye effect. Gabrielle has always been extremely comfortable with water. I'm not sure if it comes naturally or just because I love being in water so much. She's just always had the best time at Walden Pond. Some of those images are from Walden Pond. Some of them are from the beach in Chicago. We visited her grandmother, my mother, and her cousins. Just the surf in general she's just fearless in the surf. When I set the mural up, I think there are 5 panels. When I set the 5 panels up, and they were 8 feet by 20 feet across, and I was in a room that it was in some ways difficult to create enough distance between me and the mural to get a sense of what it would be like in a large park walking up to it. I realized that Photoshop would really be helpful in terms of seeing something from a distance, because there it was, a rectangle on a screen. And secondly, it allowed me to move images around that essentially life-size. So I could play around with some of my photographs to create a sense of space, undulated surface, what would work in such a wide format. It was one of the beginning ways I thought of to project stuff on it, because then it was the physical mural I was working with, not a photoshopped photograph of that mural with other images compressed and attached to it, to the surface of it, and moved around. If I was projecting stuff with a projector, then I could actually feel what it was like to be in that huge space with a huge mural. And it was also just fun to play around with the idea of projecting stuff on and doing some tracing of the images. This running swimmer is a figure I've used. I did a painting of and drawing of a number of times. She's like an old friend come back to run on the beach.
And we say our collection is a permanent collection. However, the definition of permanent is fuzzy, and some people would say, well, a mural's really only meant to last 7 years. Usually when we say the art is permanent, we're speaking of perhaps 20 years, 30 years. It can certainly last a lot longer than that. However, nothing lasts for any of those lengths of time without maintenance and care. The main problem that we have is weather. The main problem for maintenance is weather. We live in a climate that has a lot of drastic changes in temperature. It has snow, it has ice. And then the other problem with conservation is vandalism, of course. There isn't a perfect paint that is being manufactured right now after all the years and years and years and years of mural painting. There isn't a paint that perfectly satisfies artists' needs to have a paint that is the right consistency, that they can work with easily, that has a full range of colors, and that is also really strong in terms of conservation. So we're not there yet. Rika Smith McNally, who's been working with us for quite a while, she's an object conservator, and Rika advised Mela on the kinds of paints to use, the kind of ground to prepare the boards with.
We want to make sure that everything that goes on Mela's mural outdoors is going to last for a long time. So we've come up with a system of a nice wood support, and this is the base coat, nice gesso. Then she's using golden acrylic colors on the top. And what we're doing today is figuring out the right kind of varnish to put on top of the paint, so that the paint won't be affected by UV light.
Right.
Considering today is an anti-graffiti coating that would go on top of that nice varnish coat. We can take the resin varnish off without harming the paint underneath. So the concept is that if it gets any graffiti on top, we can try and take off the graffiti. If we can't immediately take it off, we can actually take off the varnish and not harm what's underneath.
it's such a huge project that I'm afraid I will get distracted by something else in the midst of it, and I will lose that thread of what was so exciting and where I was going with it. And then, a new possibility will happen. I kind of like them just sort of floating, some of them. I look around this thing and I realize how much work still needs to be done on it. It puts me into a kind of panic. Do you think I'll get this thing up before it's winter? It's got to be little marks, little marks, little marks. I'm just a drawer. I'm not a painter. I'm not a big stroke kind of person.
That doesn't mean you're a painter, big strokes.
Doesn't mean I'm not a painter?
Yeah.
That's true. Whoa, look how pink that wing is.
Yeah, do you like it pink?
I actually do. It's interesting how I can now, her face comes out so much more
Yeah.
now, and she's one of the people I'm concerned about, because I think she's one of the best.
Which one?
I like with the Twinkle Toes lady,
Yeah.
the way she's looking down. I like the green on her face. See, that starts to come out in a nice kind of way, where it leaves that other cloud. It really looks Disney-like, doesn't it, that cloud?
I love Disney.
But it looks like something like coming at you.
Yeah. Now let's move the letter and look at the whole thing because you have 20 minutes.
One little place, like this,
Exactly.
like this.
Yeah. Yeah, you're getting upset. You are. You need to stop.
Well, now I can't.
You need to stop. I also think that
It looks like cauliflower?
No, I also think that we could glaze that part of the sky up there,
Uh-huh.
and then that could be nice.
See, this is really nice, and I have to figure out what to put underneath it now, because now it really feels like this wave is coming in.
Yeah.
She's completely oblivious,
Yeah.
which she is in the water. This summer, there were those hurricanes down south, and so
yeah.
the waves that came here, she'd be standing there